FM 92.1 WCSR. The Timeout Show is brought to you by great local sponsors, the Jack Smith Agency, Hillsdale Travel Center, Coach B's Driving School, and Randy's Auto Body. All kinds of Detroit Tigers baseball talk tonight. At about 6:20, we'll break down the Tigers spring training. Take a look at the prospective roster, talk about how Brad Ausmus is doing early on in his career, and got a lot of fun stuff, too. So we hope you join us for the second part of the program coming up. But we start off tonight talking Hillsdale High School wrestling. We're joined tonight by a couple of guys who are going to play or participate in the state meet. They'll be wrestling at the state meet at the Palace of Auburn Hills coming up next week, February 27th, 28th, and on March 1st. And it's exciting times for these two young men, Kevin Curby and Nate Boardman. Kevin was a regional runner-up at the 171-pound weight class, and Nate Boardman, a regional champion at 285. Guys, thank you for coming in. How you doing?
Good. Pretty good. How are you?
Really good. We'll start, Kevin, with you, the junior here in the group. Coming in this year, what were your expectations for your season?
My expectations are always high. You know, I train a lot during the season, really hard, and obviously in the off-season, working out a lot. So, I do all these things, obviously, to have big expectations, and I expect to win.
You do, and you have some great mentors in your life. Obviously, your father is a sensational wrestler. He's been the wrestling coach at Hillsdale for a while now. And your brother's had tremendous success, not only in high school, but at the college level. So if you're looking for role models, you've got those, right?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of wrestling all over the place. You know, when I go home, my dad's always talking about wrestling. My brother's always talking about wrestling. And, you know, it's fun. It's really competitive in the family, and I like it.
You know, wrestling is a sport that I don't think gets the publicity that the especially around here, the football and the basketball get. Those are kind of the two big spectator sports. And yet when you go to a wrestling match and you see a good, intense match, it's as an exciting of an experience as you can have in high school sports. It's absolutely thrilling when you see a couple of guys going at it, and it doesn't take people very long to get into it once they go and check it out, does it?
Oh, no, not at all. Like, the feeling when you win, obviously when you're watching it, it's crazy and people are yelling, but when you win, it's a really good feeling.
And the work that you guys put in, I mean, I can bring you in on this. Nate Boardman, regional champion with just one loss on the entire season, way back in like the first tournament of the year at 285. Yeah. I mean, the training that you guys do, I've never done it. I've never been through it. I have a lot of friends who either coach wrestling or wrestled themselves, and they tell me that nobody works as hard as wrestlers to get ready for what you guys have to do.
Yeah, nobody really works as hard. It's more about conditioning than strength and all this other stuff. It's the hardest 6 minutes of your life that you'll ever do.
Take me through a typical wrestling practice. So what do you guys do when you guys are training at practice?
We start with a game, we do a little handball, and we do our warm-up, our gymnastics, and then we go into drilling, and just depends on what mood coach is in and what he want and what else he has planned for.
What does drilling mean? What do you do during that?
We just work on our techniques, our moves, and
you got to be. I mean, the amount of conditioning that you have to be in. You have to have so much stamina to make it through one of those matches, and being at a loss of air or being out of shape is not an option. If you are, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
When you face somebody good, that's not even an option.
No, it's not. If you're out of breath, you're not going to win.
I mean, you do football. You guys both do football, but Jake, obviously your dad's the defensive coordinator on the football team. Then you do the wrestling. You guys train a lot for football. I'm sorry, Kevin. You train a lot for football, and that's hard work too. But is the conditioning and the prep for wrestling even more difficult?
By far. Like, I go through football, and it's fun times all the time. Other people will be doing sprints, and they'll be like, hands on their knees, breathing, and I'm thinking this is easy because during wrestling season, I mean, it's not uncommon for me to lose like 5 or 6 pounds during a practice just by sweating. I mean, yeah, we do a lot of stuff just to have it be really hard because matches, there's nothing like a match because obviously it's two guys going as hard as they can, so you have to be really conditioned for that.
Got to be in great shape mentally and physically, and the mental part of wrestling is something that is so key because you have to stay on top of your game. I know you have to think, and a lot of it's instinctual too when you're out there, but you have to stay on top mentally, and sometimes it's easy to just say, okay, I'm tired, I don't feel like doing this anymore, and it's the guys I think that can overcome that really rise to the level that you two have gotten to. Talk about your season. Kevin, we'll start with you, both for yourself personally and for your team.
Started off the season, we went to a tournament. I got disqualified from a match for doing an illegal move that I thought was completely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had no problem with it, but I don't know. I got disqualified. Kept winning. I lost to a kid named Roger Fox. He's from Sand Creek. He's pretty good. I mean, I think I could have won. I've lost to him 3 times so far this season. I feel like I could have won in every single one. Mm-hmm. In the district and regional finals, I've wrestled him, and I lost 4-3 both times. And, so close. It's just, it stinks losing such big matches, but, that's why we do it,
But you mentioned your losses, but you had way more wins.
Yeah, I had a lot of wins. I mean, you don't remember the wins.
Right.
You remember the losses.
Is there a win, though? You've taken on everybody this year. Is there a win that kind of stands out as being special?
I've won some matches against a couple ranked guys. I won against Michael Golding from Manchester. I won against a kid from Heartland who was ranked 7th in D1. I've won some good matches, so those are always really fun. I didn't know against a kid from Heartland. I thought that was really sweet.
What about your team this year? Obviously, the team has been eliminated. What was it like for you as a team, all of the guys together?
It's always a good experience to have the team there. We might not win that many duels, but it's fun to have a team around because right now it's just me and Boardman. So it's fun to have a team.
And you told me before we came on the air that you guys are actually training with the guys at Hudson right now.
Yeah.
So how did that situation come up, and what is it like training with those guys?
Me and Kevin aren't going to wrestle each other.
Right.
Because he's like way under my weight class,
right.
Under me. So we go to Hudson, and they have good guys over there. And if we practice against good guys, we're going to get better. So... And the practice over there is intense, and that's how we like it.
I come from a football background, and you would never do this. You would never let another team come and practice with you because you think you've got strategy that you wouldn't want them to see. But you guys said that in wrestling, that's different. It's not that unusual to do what you guys are doing.
Mm-mm. No, it's an individual sport, so like you're not going to tell a guy, oh, do this thing on the mat, but he's going to do a completely different thing. Like. It's not about.
Well, he's trying to say you want good guys to practice with,
right?
So you can be better,
right?
You're not just going to practice with some kid who's not very good, and then go out there and expect to beat good guys. You want to practice against good guys so you can beat good guys.
You lost one match all year, Nate, and that was right at the beginning of the season. What happened that one?
Just trying to get used to everything. New year, and I tried doing a move that I wasn't ready for and got pinned.
So he caught you,
yeah,
on a thing, and since then you've gone undefeated.
Yep,
that's a pretty good. How many matches in a row?
We don't really keep track.
A bunch.
Yeah,
it's a lot. And now you go through the regional, you win the regional championship. What was that like for you?
I faced some good guys. It was regionals. I don't really think about it as like importance.
So your expectations are more toward that state meet.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, how far did you make it last year, Nate?
I made it to regionals.
So this is farther for you than you made it last year.
Yep.
Awesome. How nervous do you guys get before a match?
Me personally, I get pretty nervous. Because it's like you hear the matches before you, just the roar of the crowd. And it's really intense, and you're wrestling a good guy. So I get pretty nervous, but I think I thrive on that.
What about you?
I get nervous. I think everybody gets nervous. If you don't get nervous, you don't have the love of the game anymore.
When you're playing tackle for the Hornets, there's 10 other guys out there, and you're kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. Maybe when the coaches break down the film, they're going to identify you, but during the game, maybe you're not quite as. But man, when you're out there on the wrestling mat, it's just you. You're all by yourself, and you're exposed in that respect. And yeah, I would think that would be pretty nerve-wracking. Is there any kind of scouting that goes into this? Are you able to learn about another wrestler's tendencies ahead of time, or is that something that you just kind of figure out during the match?
You figure out during the match.
A little bit of both for me, because I don't know. You see a guy, he likes to shoot a nice double, a double takedown. So maybe you're gonna get a lower stance because of that, or you're gonna try and work his head a little bit more. But it's a lot during the match if you've never wrestled a guy.
So you're not getting film on these guys ahead of time, and
you can, but not so much.
So that's one difference from football. In football, you have a ton of film. You study that ahead of time. In wrestling, it's more about you, about your skill set, what you want to do and feel confident about, and carry it out through the match. Why do you guys do this? I mean, I think I've watched wrestling practices before. It doesn't look like any fun. It looks like a lot of hard work. I know that sometimes guys have had to try to make weight, and that can be really challenging. This is a tough sport. This is not for people who aren't really tough mentally and physically. What is the fuel for your fire? What keeps you going at practice and working so hard?
Working to win. Obviously, the training is not fun at all.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're tired, you don't feel like doing it, you're going into the practice, and it's obviously you're dreading it. But when you go out there and you win in a big match, it's worth it.
The get to state. That's what a big drive is for me. I want to get to state and get up there and.
So you're going to be wrestling at the Palace.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
One of the best sports arenas in the world, and you guys are going to be there with some of the best in the state. The difference between your weight class, it's over 100 pounds. You're 285, Nate, and Curby, you're at 171. Are there really two different sports at those weight classes, or are you still essentially trying to do the same things?
There's a difference. Like Kevin's weight class, they'll shoot and they'll do a bunch of all these other moves that us heavyweights look at, and we're like, no, we won't do it at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot faster pace. Like Boardman is trying to push guys around and outstrength them, and me, it's pretty much all about the technique and the engine that goes into it.
You guys have worked a little bit with the Hudson guys, wrestling in the area. We talked about Carter Ballinger up at Jonesville, who's had a great season. Some of the Reading guys did pretty well. I mean, there have been some nice performances around the county in wrestling this year.
I know, it's sweet. It's sweet to see.
And you guys are a big part of that, going to the state. Now, you get to the state part of it. How many matches do you have to win to be the state champ?
You have to win 4 matches, but in order to place, you have to win 2.
So
before you lose 2.
If you get to 2 wins before you lose 2, you're a state
placer.
You've placed in the state. And if you get to 4 wins, you're the state champion.
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty fun. Now, my kids and I, we watch WWE once in a while, and there's a belt. You going to get a belt if you win a state title?
You get a small gold medal.
You get a medal. All right.
And you get the bragging rights of saying, oh, yeah, I won the state championship.
Lots of bragging rights. Did your brother win the state championship?
Yeah, he won it his junior year.
Interesting.
Yeah, at 71.
He's at Eastern?
Yeah, he's at Eastern
and
now.
is still wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
And still loving it?
Still loving it. He absolutely loves it.
Do you have to spar with your dad at practice?
Sometimes. Sometimes he'll have his condition, so I get really tired, and then he'll come in and he'll just beat me up a little bit.
So he has you do a ton of training before he faces you.
Yeah,
that's a
he
smart
gets me
guy.
nice and tired.
That's a really smart guy. But your dad's pretty tough.
Yes.
He can handle himself out there.
Yes.
Could he handle himself with Nate over here?
Oh, he does it all the time.
And he's probably giving a few pounds to you too.
Oh.
I don't think he's 285.
No, he's for his age, he's really good.
He's pretty darn tough, and I've been around him a little bit. I've seen what he did at football, and he's an intense guy. What do you need out of your wrestling coach? I mean, obviously, when you're out there in the match, a lot of it's just your instincts and your training. But what makes a good wrestling coach?
A lot of yelling. Somebody who's been through it before, so they can obviously put you through good practices. Somebody who can tell you what to do, and you'll respect them, and they know what they're doing pretty much.
What's the culture of wrestling at Hillsdale High School? Are there young kids like at the middle school level that are seeing what you guys are doing and getting excited about the sport?
Definitely. There's the middle school team was big this year.
Good. But you don't intimidate those guys or beat them up or anything like that.
No, a couple of them are my neighbors, and
Once people see Boardman, I'm pretty sure everybody gets a little bit intimidated, though.
I don't think there are a lot of middle schoolers that are ready to tangle with Boardman right about now.
there's one.
There's a big kid. There's a kid who weighs about 270 on the middle school team right now.
So he's a future state qualifier, maybe, if he keeps working hard. Do you think that anybody who's willing to put in the work can learn to get better at wrestling? Like, what makes a good wrestler? What are the ingredients that you need as far as, I know basketball. You can shoot if you can, you've got some balance and that sort of thing. Is that what it's like for wrestling too? What makes a good young wrestler?
Somebody, like, the thing that's different between wrestling and other sports is you don't have to be 6'5" and be really fast in order to wrestle. You need to be a hard worker. You need to be able to put your head down and work, and you need to be able to put it in the work. So that's what makes a good wrestler.
You got to be smart on the mat too.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't go for all these hard moves, and just be able to learn.
You have about a week before this is real. This is going to happen a week from tomorrow. Do you train any differently going into the state championship than you have all year, or is it just kind of business as usual, getting ready for the state meet?
Business as usual, getting ready.
Keep doing what you've been doing. Keep getting better at it in the foundation. Are you looking forward to being done?
The training, I'm not going to miss the training too much, but yeah.
You're going to miss wrestling, but you won't miss the training so much.
Yeah, I'm going to miss it, but
it would be fun to finish with a lot of success at that tournament. Now, this is a 3-day thing, the 27th, 28th, and 1st. So what are you going to do? You're going to drive up there, stay at a hotel, and hang out the whole weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some family and friends going up?
My dad is my coach, so family.
He will be there. What about you, Nate?
Parents are staying at a different hotel.
But they'll get to watch you.
Yep.
Your parents get into this?
Very much.
They get pretty excited. Does your dad give you pointers and stuff?
No, he didn't wrestle in high school, so he doesn't know what really is happening. So he's just happy that I'm playing a sport that I love.
You guys are awesome representatives of your school. I want to thank Clay Scheinman, your athletic director, for setting this up. He was really excited for you guys to get some publicity because you totally deserve it. A lot of hard work, a lot of success, a lot of wins for Hillsdale High School that you guys have put together. And I was hoping your dad could make it tonight. I know he was not able to. But congratulate him for me and your whole team because you guys have made a lot of people proud.
All right, we will.
And we want to hear all about this when it's over. The 27th, 28th, and 1st. I know Clay Scheinman will keep us posted on Twitter. If you follow Hillsdale Athletics on Twitter, Mr. Scheinman does a good job of sending updates along about how games and matches are going. So I know that he'll keep us updated with how you guys are doing, and we wish you all the best. Go get him.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you guys for being here. We'll come back. We're going to talk a lot of Tiger baseball. Rick and Martin are in. We'll also talk a little Hornet basketball right after this on the Timeout Show.